All right, we are going to speed run the creation of this AHM Media Arsenal piece. This is a series of animations, just like data visualizations, small, tiny tidbits of information that we would want anyone to know if they were advocates of housing to become attainable, housing to be affordable to people, housing to be abundant for the next generation. These are things that you need to know, and some things are like you know data points. Some of these are like maps and stuff. I'm just gonna run through my process for doing this thing. So we're gonna do 38 AHM 38. This is about private equity. There is a bill in the state legislature here in Michigan that just got introduced that wants to ban private equity from owning houses. All right, fine. That really what we want to do? We just want to start banning people from buying houses. Look, the issue is private equity and big business is not to blame for the housing shortage. They're just not. You look at this kind of pie chart. Apartments, less than 10% of homes are owned by uh, the top 50 corporations. And it's even smaller in the single family rentals. Like it's such a fragmented market. People do not understand this. People think that they're, oh man, the corporations are just buying up all these homes. Well, if we attack this issue, we're not solving our housing crisis still. Our housing shortage is going to continue. So we're going to make this tiny bit of information. So here's what we do. Here's my process. I think my process is pretty solid, so I'm going to toot it pretty good, but let's go with it. First things, let's do it. AHM 38. That's what I'm going to call this folder. AHM 038. Private. Oh my god, I can't spell it today. Speedrun, going terrible. Private equity. I'm just leave that bin there because we're gonna do V1s and V2s inside of there with the comps. So here we go. HM038 private equity slide 1V1. Alright, we got this empty page. Now let's go find some inspiration. Can't. Let's go. Like, I feel like Emily shared the Behance stuff before, and I can probably just find that for inspiration. I mean, this is part of the process. This is why this is part of the speed run. We gotta get visual inspiration. I think a lot of times people think like, oh, I can't waste time on inspiration. Well, look, we gotta do it. We gotta go through this process of getting the visual inspiration that we want to make something excellent. Can't just can't just ignore that side of things. Oh, bored. Emily, thank goodness. Infographics, beautiful stuff here. We are dealing with a pie chart particularly, so we have to think about how do we want to maybe do some pie charty stuff. That's nice. Let's see here. I really like some of this design element stuff here, though. I like that right there. I mean, just this like framing device here. That's a nice little design bit there. Like the hand-drawn stuff. Yeah, that's good stuff. Ooh. Ooh. Doesn't really help us a ton, but I like how simple this is. Ooh, that's good too. Some good visual design stuff right there. Doing a pie chart So we have to be kind of careful because sometimes it's like pie charts are both easy, but also they can be too simple and they can look a little boring. You never really want to just get stuck in something. I mean, it's nice, right? Point out something. But here's the deal with when you do that. What we're trying to do is show how small the market is for corporate owned, or the ones owned by the top 50 owners, um, in the whole market of housing. With apartments and single family homes, it's just a small percentage. And if we were to do this, that would make the percentage look bigger. The reason why they're doing this is to kind of, one, they're trying to highlight that a quarter of people or something is like this, but they're also making it bigger, so that way it's like the point they're highlighting. And we don't want to inadvertently make something look bigger because we're trying to actually make it look less. Infographic style. Yeah, I mean, this is all right. I mean, this is good for what it is. It's just I'm trying to do something else. So we could do this kind of pie chart. I think what's interesting about this original chart is that, you can look at these tiny, tiny slices, of the ownership pie. That's like another big part of it, where like we're trying to point out like it's the top 50 people only make up this slice, and that's gonna be a whole thing of its own. Ooh, that's interesting. That's interesting. It's kind of framing device here. I like that. I think it really works for something like something that feels serious. This is like a dark and serious feeling where I'm not certain we're trying to do that with this one. We're not trying to make the problem of corporate owned housing, like seem scary, because it's really not. It's meant to, we're trying to show them again that this is not where the problem lies. The problem lies in the fact that we've just banned housing from being constructed overall. So we really want it to feel, I don't know. Ooh, that's nice. With the color control here, green and pink. Yeah, I mean, I like that. It's simple, it's nice. Well, let's see what we can do. Let's see here. Toothpick. Yeah, and off tans. Let's get our circle together. Let's pick our pink. And then we should have some textures here that I brought in from the catalog. I like to put my catalog assets into a bin outside of everything, not in assets, because it's not within our assets folder in our project organizational structure. It's in the catalog. So let's do that. Let's find maybe some papery stuff. Cardboard is always interesting. Paper. I think paint and ink is always nice. Roller. Paint roller's not bad. Paint roller's not bad. I like it. What we'll do is I will invert it. No, the curve. Curves gives me a little bit more control. And then we can set this to screen. Top everything. Turn this down to like 25%. That just gives that light right there. Just a little bit of texture. Alternative is, what if we don't Oh, that looks like kind of nice around this way. I should probably, yeah, I should probably bring in the address at this one. I like to put this into. Just gonna put that in the Wild West folder. 9,000. Yeah, I'm gonna try to make this circle pretty small. Let's put some data assets around here so we can kind of get our sense of design already. Okay, let's steal what it says here. Sources. Madeira Residential Research. National Multi-Family Housing Council. John Burns Research and Consulting. And yeah, smaller. Helvetica now. I like to play with my fonts a little bit. Maybe we could find something a bit different. Minion Pro. Gray 2020 sounds good to me. Before I do anything else, I'm going to add my animators to this already. Position, opacity. This is just my go-to. Down 5 pixels. Offset to -100. To +100. Do words. Do ramp up. Slow. Get that. Cool. Cool, cool. Okay, and now that we have that, duplicate that so that way it carries the animator with it. I'm going to turn this into title. Market share. Turn this up to 55. Let's turn this up to 55. Let's keep referring back to our design inspo. We could do something like this, which has this kind of like tech of minded version. The negative space, I love that. I love that. Oh, we should also put the Abundant Housing Michigan logo in the corner. Don't want to. We'll leave that for later. Let's see, what can we find? Got this. I mean, I like this. I like what's going on. Tab shell. What else we got here? Wind illustrations for Vox. Vox always does something nice. always doing something interesting with their designs. That rule. that's that's nice. Um, I don't know if I'm gonna get anything. But we're gonna kind of pull from a couple design styles, I think. I think I will. I think I really. Ooh, it's a pie. See, that's why it's so good. I did not see this one. Maps. Everybody loves maps. Ooh. Okay. Okay, I really like this. I really like this. Okay. Let's do something like that. So here's how I like to do a grid. I like to draw lines. 20, 20, 20. And we're going to leave this at 2. Oops. Okay. Then we'll take that shape layer, or shape information, put a repeater on it. The repeater will go across, like so. And do the same thing above. We'll also have a repeater. One will instead go down 100. It's our grid essentially, but we are going to some turbulent displace on it. And then put roughen edges on it as well. So now it looks like that. Then we turn down the turbulent display. And maybe turn down the opacity. Maybe a little bit. Throw that back. Do one more thing, which is displacement map. And we will read the paint roller kind of extra information. And now look like that. Cool. Okay. Next, let's name these layers. Background, grid. Let's call this one. Name this line chart. Okay, let's look at what's really working here. You know, this background grid. I'm just gonna cheat this and scale it down a little bit so that way the individual lines the distance between the lines. I mean, we can do this. We don't have to do it that way. We could just. I was just being a little lazy. Let me shape one. Change that repeater. Change that to 75. Same thing to the other repeater. So by making it smaller, make it a little bit less apparent as a background element. And it's just worth maybe down that turbulent displace amount to help you out there. There. So now the lines look a little less intense and super apparent. And again, I feel like I would probably turn that down a little bit more. Okay, what I'm pointing out is that this paint roll effect on it. And that's why we have the paint roll effect. Texture layers. Where's the paint roll? This asset. So we can utilize that plenty. I want to put that on top of the pie chart. To alpha key it to that. Luma key it. Or we could do the opposite. We could paint roller to the pie chart. So we have this. We have this like paint roller look to it. Which, doesn't look so bad. It's worth color overlay. Color. Doing it. Okay, well maybe that means I have to change color. Still just that. I think I went the wrong way. You're just going to. Oop. Maybe I didn't. Ah, yes, yeah. All right. All right. Now let's posterize a position. Do something like 4. We'll wiggle every second, 3 pixels around. So I get this kind of chunky thing going on here. Do a little more. 10. Too dressed. Cool. All right. So we have these paint roller textures that are alpha keyed to this pie chart. All right. Let's take a look at what we have. Market share of content. Top market share of US top 50. Oh, cool. I'm starting to think Mini Pro is not my favorite font for this choice. It's not giving us a lot of features and options. Be newsreader. Like news. All right, so this is what we get. Great. Should be this. The pie chart. Alpha. I'm gonna move this down. Change all this to news. Alrighty. I think we have some good stuff here. Now, let's go and figure out how we will this in our favor. We're gonna use this template real good now. Go. Alrighty. Now, how do we depict this? So, the way we do a pie chart is that it's not actually the fill of the circle. It's actually a stroke. It's a very large stroke. And I do something like 300. flips 300 by 300. Go down to 275. It's down 275. And then by having it be a path, we can do trim path. Just a little something. Not bad. Super exciting. But we can do better. I'm going to add an adjustment layer at this point in time just because I feel like it's worthwhile. And the adjustment layer will to a post-res time to everything at about 12 frames a second. Well, we'll do 15 because this is a 30 frame a second. So then we'll get this kind of a little bit chunkier look to it. Cool. Cool. This is looking nice. I think sources is a little high for whatever reason. So it means the AHM is a little high. And I'm going to do this. I'm take that turbulent displace and we're going to copy it over to that AHM logo. See if that does anything cool to it. Yeah. Maybe do the roughen edges as well. Actually, let's get rid of that displace and just put that roughen edges on here. Interesting. Don't seem to be doing much. I'm going to put that same roughen edges on the pie chart. Just give it that little, you see that little bit of like grain quality to it. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. And this one, that's gonna be. It's just a little bit more kind of papery ink print type look to it. I like. I think it's doing a ton. But this could go a bunch more. Ooh, ooh. That looks alright. Looks like an ink right corner there. Cool. Top 50. Alright. Alright. Just for organizational sake, since this one starts a little bit later on, I'm just gonna have its layers also start a little late. Okay, adjustment layer. Rename this just posterize time to text up there. Got the paint roller overlay, my chart, paint roller, background grid, source, logo. Cool. Okay. Now I am going to duplicate this. What we're gonna have here is we're going to turn on color stuff, and we are going to have this mimic. No, barely, barely 10%. Barely 10% of all homes, all apartments. Oh, I mean, I guess we could have just taken that 10, 10 point, yeah, 5.8. Nope, 10.5.8. As much as it is. Turn that off. Go. Okay, of that now. Now let's duplicate this more. Going to do the same thing, but now you're going to reveal just a bunch of colors. Just a fuckload of colors. I'm wondering. This was alpha key to that. Scale up. Set to like the blow. Or screen. Oh, really looks nice. And then we can take pie chart, rough and edges situation, do the same. Turbulent displacement. Maybe displacement map better actually. Slap that onto that. Ooh. There. So now we have this. Cool. The big thing is we really just want to hit that last note here. We want to all others 89.42%. All right, I'm starting to see, hey, there might be a need. This is this is something that just kind of came upon me right now. Seeing there may be a need at some point in the future. I don't know if it's going to happen yet. Right, these things, this pie chart data could be moved around. So I'm going to make a null layer to do that. Pie chart position. Just move this around and just moves everything down a little. And that'll allow me to put all this stuff. Let me take that. And the biggest one. Graystar. At 0, 47%. Oh, whoopsie. Whoopsie. Ooh, okay. Here's an opportunity for an align tool. Distribute. Okay, Gray Star first. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And here's why I had that note layer. So we can move this whole thing down a little bit. Because we were really messing with that negative space. Cool. Alright, let's see what we get. Cool. Looks great. And I'm going to add one last thing, just some design elements that I think really help. Just be these little, like, little hand-drawn little squigglies. Especially in the age of AI, this helps a ton. It helps a ton just to make things look a little bit more human, a little bit more tactile. To remind people that these things are real world. Alright, nice. Nice. That looks good enough for me. Alright, let's go back to our comps and let's color this in. Boom. That was slide one. Now the thing about the second one is that's very similar, and that's why I like to group these into carousels or whatnot. They're going to be similar. So what we can do now, just to save us a lot of time, is make this slide two. Make a copy. That's slide two. And we're going to change just on the text. Top 50 single family rental owners. Tight. And then this one, the math is funnier. Now it's 96. 33. Here. And let's make that. Let's make. Yeah, that looks nice. We could do red, blue, yellow. Ooh, I think yellow might. See, that looks ugly. That's what we want to point out. And here's where this Progress Residential. Invitation. AMH. That stands for. It's much the same. I think what we can change here is maybe some of those lines. And then we have to swap exactly what the paint is painting. Okay, so the opposite or the complementary would be 3.6. 6, 7. 6, 7. Boom. Just for the hell of it. The paint rollers could be placed at a different spacing now. Alright. Here we go. So what was that? Locked in an hour. 1 hour. 2 slides. 1 massive video that we can share. All these legislators who are about to vote on a bill that makes no fucking sense. But we did. Boom. Then we just export. Oh, I made a mistake, didn't I? I did not save for today. Let's do it. 601. Alright. Then we'll hit send a render queue. Same here. Render queue. 40 megabytes a second is perfectly fine. And this is going to 90 converts. AHM beta arsenal exports. It's going to be AHM 38 private equity. Render. See this boy in action. Boom. That looks pretty nice. Okay. Boom, there's one. Boom. One last thing I want to do is I want to pull like the final point in the animation here, and I want to composition save frame as this file that I'll send it to the render queue. I want this to be a PNG or JPEG. JPEG's fine. Actually, let's do PNG. PNGs are going to be higher quality. PNG sequence. Same thing here. Find an endpoint to the animation here. Composition, save frame as file PNG. And we may as well send it to the same place. gonna give me the 2 frames. Done. All right. An hour and 5 minutes. Clock it. Dunzo.